Today we're going to look at an all-round great posture, and it is downward facing dog. So it's one of the postures inspired by an animal, and in taking on the shape of these things and animals and objects in the world with our yoga postures helps us to understand them more as well. So with the downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana, we think of a dog having its first stretch of the day as it gets up off its haunches any time of the day and has this stretch that lengthens its spine. But the dog also comes into this posture when it's ready to play, when it's ready to play with you or play with another dog. It'll come into this posture as well because it's a playful posture. It's one of our arm balancing postures as well as being a standing posture and an inversion. So being a standing posture, it brings our awareness to our feet and our legs. And it is marvelous how this posture helps you to fine tune the muscles in your feet because our head is hanging and we're looking at our feet. But let's remember that it's a whole body stretch. We're pushing through the center of the palms, pressing the ball and the heel of the feet down while lifting up the knees, the thighs and the navel. So in effect, we're expanding in all directions when we come into downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. And this relieves the spine. It is a spine lengthening posture. As you let the head hang, the spine will naturally lengthen, and this brings a great relief to your spine, making space between the vertebra and allowing increased circulation around the spine to nourish your nervous system. So it's a restorative posture as well as being one that builds up our strength as we expand from our core body outwards. It's a restorative posture when you come into it correctly. So we call it sometimes a resting posture. And it's a restorative posture because it's actually rejuvenating your nervous system. So it's a good posture to have between strong postures. It can be a strong posture on its own in that you're building up your arms, strengthen your shoulders in this posture. So at any time during the sequences that I've demonstrated here, if you're feeling a bit of a strain in the shoulders, please come down and rest in child pose. Don't keep pushing it. We are building up your strength. It doesn't all happen today. It happens over time. So don't push too far today. It's going to be quite a strong practice if you're not used to doing a lot of downward facing dog. Just take your time with it, and as I said, come into a resting position at any time during the sequence. I have prepared a short introductory sequence just to remind you that you do need to do this before you start these sequences. You still need to have a little bit of a stretch in child pose and sitting in hero pose to focus on your breath before you start these sequences. You'll see in the demonstration video that I've also guided you through a lovely relaxation meditation today to remind you that you do need to take this time after completing these sequences for at least 2 minutes just to let everything go. And so this is sometimes when you will also get flashes of insight because of tension that's being released in the body through the practice, and it results in insight, inspiration, ideas. Something will be released, some understanding will be gained through Shavasana in your relaxed position if you allow it to happen. So remembering that this is a weight-bearing posture, you're building up strength in the bones as well. And that means that the more you push down through the mat, the more your bone marrow produces calcium. So these weight-bearing postures have been proven to increase your bone density over time as well. So really good to keep doing these postures as we get older. Downward facing dog is a boon. If you have any upper back pain and in the shoulders, it's going to relieve those shoulders. So it's not often that you think you can work into a posture to bring relief to a part of the body by working it, but that's the dual edge, I suppose, of downward facing dog. Just as like the dog will use it to stretch and to prepare to play with another dog or with you, the downward facing dog is like that as well. It will give your body a rest, but it will also give it a workout. So we learn that you can do both. You can have that balance between work and play, work and rest, when we come into these postures correctly. So we learn that we can work the arms and the legs strongly, and still the body can be resting in this posture. I wanted to also point out the benefit for the legs generally in this posture. I love doing this posture because it gives the hamstrings a big stretch, and it does stretch the calf muscles and the ankles. It fully stretches the ankles in this posture as you push all the edges of your feet down, really thinking about the four corners of each foot pushing down, and pushing through the center of the palms, remember, is what activates the arms. I'm going to remind you of that as you come into these postures in real time. So the instructions and the demonstration is done in real time for about 3 conscious breaths in each posture. And as I said, if it gets too much for you, just turn the recording off, take a rest, and come back to it. And another thing you might try is, if you do come and have a rest and think that's it, you've had enough, have a rest, and then maybe when you come back up, you'll find from your child pose, you might feel, oh, maybe I'll have another go at that. So you can either continue going through the sequence or come back and repeat what you've just done, because the first time is always going to be exploratory, and then the second time is sometimes when the intuitive knowledge kicks in with the postures. So you've got to remember your body has its own wisdom. Even though we're teaching the body to work correctly, the body has its own wisdom. It's always going to want to move towards that state of homeostasis where there's harmony and balance in the body. And by working the body correctly as it's designed to be worked, we arrive at that, even if we're in a strong posture like downward facing dog. Once the body comes to this point of homeostasis, where you've got equal action on the left and the right sides of the body, you've got steady breath, you find that something else kicks in. It's like your body just starts to float, and you feel this sense of equanimity and release in the posture, sometimes described as a state of bliss. And in that state, it feels timeless, as though time doesn't exist, as though you could stay there forever. But of course, we've got quite a range of postures here for you today, and they're going to start gentle, work towards a peak posture so that you'll have some challenges there. So I hope you enjoy exploring all these variations. A lot of them we have practiced in class, and maybe there's some instructions that you haven't heard in class that you'll hear today. There's always so many instructions. Best to just let them wash over you and just allow them to come into your mind as you talk to your body and listen to feedback from your body in the posture. All right, everyone, downward facing dog is going to strengthen you today, and it's also going to bring rest. So I hope you enjoy the journey, and I shall be back to see you tomorrow for a less strenuous sequence tomorrow. So enjoy feeling your strength today, and it's going to be all about balance tomorrow. Okay, everyone, bye for now. See you tomorrow.